All right, welcome everybody to our first episode of the M&M Show. I'm Mete Makunachi. I'm here with Makai, Bruce, two individuals who've been at Raptors Republic for like a year now.
Yeah, about a year.
Yeah, exactly. My friend Makai, I'm sure you recognize him more than my name. He goes hard on the game days, the post games, quick reactions. He did a great job last year. And I mean, if you're looking to to understand the game of basketball more, he does a great job on his own channel, Playoff Makai. He covers the NBA. So yeah, I mean, we wanted to do like a our own podcast covering the NBA and not just the Raptors. So in our first episode, we'll we'll preview the Eastern Conference for you guys. But anyways, before we get into that, how have you been with Raptors Republic? How you like it so far?
Yeah, man, Raptors Republic, really great. I had a great time so far during my very short career here, and I can't wait to, turn it up this year.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna try to do much more this year too, and hopefully this show sticks around. Anyways, like I said, Eastern Conference preview. We can get started at the top. I'll start with my first team,
Mhm.
and I went for the Boston Celtics this year. They had a pretty like it wasn't the craziest offseason, but they got Kristaps Porzingis, which was a huge W for them.
And he just
Great.
signed Lamar Stevens today.
Oh yeah, he's solid defensively. So
Hmm.
I was gonna say I their bench is all right, but that should really help them out on their bench. Great starting five. Malcolm Brogdon, six man of the year. Maybe we'll start at the beginning of the year now that Porzingis is out for a bit. And yeah, they lost Grant Williams and Marcus Smart, which is kind of hurt them, but I think they'll be okay.
Hmm. Yeah, I got the same Boston Celtics #1 seed. I think when you have two great talents like Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, they're always going to be able to carry you to a lot of regular season wins. And I really like the Porzingis trade. I think it's going to help them get that extra scoring punch and just he's a pretty good rim protector as well, pretty solid passer, I would say. Also spaces the floor. So I just think all that combined, especially with the continuity last year with Joe Mazzulla having his second season and coaching and just having a pretty familiar supporting cast, I think they're going to be #1 seed next year.
Yeah, definitely. Joe Mazzulla did a great job with them, and we'll see how it goes year two. And second seed for me, I'm going Milwaukee Bucks. A lot of rumors about Giannis not being happy, so it's kind of concerning. But if they get back to their winning ways, I'm sure he'll be happy again. Only one key addition was Malik Beasley this year, and they lost Javon Carter and Wesley Matthews, two solid shooters off their bench. So I think they took a bit of a hit losing those two guys, and only getting Beasley back, but they're still the Bucks, so I think they'll be okay too.
Yeah, I got Milwaukee second as well. We have like a best in the league type style player that Giannis is. And I think, it's mostly that health that hurt them in the playoffs because they were a pretty high seed going into the playoffs. They were #1 seed last year, I think.
Hmm.
So I think, if they're healthy, if Chris Middleton stays healthy, Drew Holiday stays healthy, Brook Lopez, anchors that defense well like he did last year, I think they're going to be #1 seed again. I mean, #2 seed this year, but a high seed again.
Yeah, they'll be up there, I think.
Yeah,
Third
definitely.
seed, it was like kind of tricky for me. I went New York Knicks. I'm kind of
Mhm.
high on them this year.
Yeah.
Only got Dante DiVincenzo. He did a good job filling in for Curry off their bench too when they needed him. And they only lost Derrick Rose, Obi Toppin, and those guys weren't really like in their rotation. So I wouldn't say that's big losses for them. And yeah, I mean, after they got Josh Hart, they were a completely different team. They won a playoff series, and I
Huge.
think they'll build on it this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I love the Knicks, but I'm not so high on the Knicks this year. Like to have them to third seed. Third seed, I'm going to say Cleveland. I think if Evan Mobley can take that next step offensively and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland just continue to do what they do. And I still think that Darius Garland has some room for growth. Like he can take that next step and just become like a better player, especially be more aggressive, scoring the ball. But I just think they have a really, really balanced starting five. They picked up, I think, Max Strus this offseason. So they got more, depth, more shooting. So I just think that they have a really balanced lineup, great defensive front court, and they just are going to be able to be the third seed this year. That's what I see.
I was thinking about the Cavs at 3-2, and I put them right below the Knicks at 4. Like you said, really young team. They should continue to get better. It was kind of disappointing for them in the playoffs losing to the Knicks, but I mean, there's always next year. They'll learn from it. They got Georges Niang and Max Strus, two great shooters.
From
So I'm a
shooting,
big
yeah.
fan of that. Exactly. And like you said, they lost Lamar Stevens today. And
Mhm.
Chetty Osman,
I don't think that's the end of the world, though. I think they'll be all right.
yeah, yeah, it was like in and out of the rotation. So yeah, I mean, they're really young. They should continue to get better too.
Number four is kind of tough. I think maybe, yeah, I'm gonna say the Knicks. I'm gonna say the Knicks at four. I think, RG Barrett, everybody's not, the biggest fan of him. He doesn't always play the best, but I think that he's going to be more comfortable in this little more off ball role that he had last year. I think he's going to have some room for improvement. And just Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle did a great job last year, leading the team offensively. And then the thing that really, pushes me towards the Knicks in the regular season, they have a lot of depth. They have just Quentin Grimes off the bench. They have Emmanuel Quickly. They have just so many guys that you can plug in, like Josh Hart. They just got DiVincenzo. They got, a great big man off the bench, Hartenstein. So they just have so much depth that I think they're just going to be able to go at a regular season for the long haul. So I can see them being the top four seed next year.
Yeah, they should be up there, but you never know with the Knicks. We'll see. Um, yeah, number 5, kind of low, I guess. The 76ers.
Mm.
I'm just I don't really know about them like without Harden, how it's gonna play out. But if they do have Harden, they should be like top 4 easily.
So we're assuming that they'll have Harden this year for the
I'm
prediction.
assuming they don't. That's why I
Oh,
have
they
them kind
don't.
of low. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, nothing's really getting done right now, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
still kind of slow.
Yeah, they got Nick Nurse, Mo Bamba, great addition. Pat Bev, solid too. And they
Yep.
lost a couple of guys out of the rotation: Shake Milton,
Mm.
Dwayne Dedman, Josh McDaniels, and Georges Niang. So yeah, I think they'll be they'll be top 5 even without Harden, and with Harden, they should be like third seed probably. And then I'd knock the Knicks down one, Cavaliers down one.
Hmm.
But right now, I think he shouldn't. He probably won't be there, but we'll see how it goes.
We assuming that they have him. I think they're gonna be probably around the five seed, but I could definitely see them being like 3 to 5. But to go on the safe side, I'm gonna say they're gonna be the five seed. But when you have a talent like Joel Embiid, can score on anybody, can lead the league in scoring, just a really, really dominant talent like that, that carries you to a lot of regular season wins. And if he's happy or not, James Harden is still, a really good player. Still, he's not like the MVP Houston version, but this current version of him is still really good. Him and Joel Embiid have really, really good synergy. They work really well together. And if Tyrese Maxey can become a little better, like creating his own shot and just kind of working well with Embiid in that facet, I think that Philly can be pretty good this season. But I'm gonna just say five, just in case.
Yeah, another concern I actually have for them is Nick Nurse. He really loves to rely on his starters, and Embiid
Yeah.
is a really injury-prone guy. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of
Nurse already
scared.
said that he wants to like play Embiid a lot more. I don't know how that's gonna go though.
Yeah, I'm really scared. Like he overplays
Definitely.
him and he gets hurt. So I mean, that's something to look out for, I think.
Yeah.
Um, we can go to number 6. I've got the Heat, and this might kind of be a hot take. I feel like they were kind of lucky last year in the playoffs. Like,
Mhm.
I know Giannis only got hurt for like a game or two, but they really benefited from that. And then the
Definitely.
next round, they had to play the Knicks, and The Knicks upset the Cavaliers, so they kind of got lucky there too, I would say.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think they'll still be better than last year, though. It's like a two seed upgrade. I think they were eighth last year.
Mhm.
So they should still get better. They got Thomas Bryant, Justin Champagne. Not the greatest pickup. They got Josh Richardson back, which is a good pickup. They
Mhm.
lost Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Cody Zeller, Umar Yurtseven, and Victor Oladipo. They lost a lot of rotation pieces, so that's
Mhm.
kind of concerning for them. But I think they'll be top six still.
I also got Miami at 6, and I think I wouldn't say that they were lucky last year. It's just, every playoffs we see that Jimmy Butler can, rise to that next level, and I think that's what he did last season. But I have them in 6 because they lost so much of their depth, and they were already thin. But to lose Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, you really didn't bring in anybody like substantial. But they're in the trade talks for Dame right now, so
Mhm.
this could change by the time the season begins. But as of right now, looking at their current roster, it's not a bad roster by any means, but they didn't really improve. They lost, some of their depth in shooting. So I'm gonna say Miami's gonna be the 6th seed.
Yeah, with Dame, they're easily like top four, I think.
But then
And
I'll probably put them like 1 or 2.
ooh, yeah, I
With,
kind of want to
with
see
Dame,
that now. Yeah.
with Dame, they'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of teams are entering the trade talks. I saw the Bulls and the Raptors got in there, and there was a report saying like Lillard, if he's traded to a different team, he'd request a trade instantly to the Heat. So
I don't
that
know. I
would,
don't. I don't think he's that kind of guy. I think he would just play. I don't
yeah,
think he's the hold out and do all that. Like I don't think he's that kind of guy.
yeah. Maybe it's a scare tactic, trying to get the other
Yeah.
teams
I think he's
away.
on why with Miami though, honestly. Like I don't see anybody like, giving up too much for him because they know the situation. I don't think anybody's like offered too much because if they did, he'd probably be gone by now.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if Lillard's on there, it looks like Lowry might be back in the starting five now that Winston's gone. So that'd be interesting to see too. And number seven, Atlanta Hawks. They got Wesley Matthews, Patty Mills, two great shooters that should help them. They lost John Collins and Aaron Holiday. John Collins, that trade was not the best, but I understand they just wanted to get the salary off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of that still, but they still have a good starting five, solid bench. They got two nice shooters this off season. So, and I
Mm-hmm.
think they were like what the eight, nine seed, something like that last year. I think they'll get a
They
bit
were
better.
they were they were 7, I believe.
Oh, okay. So I
But they
have
won
them
that
saying
first
the same.
playing against Miami.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Say number 7, I agree. I got Atlanta there. I really like, some of the young options that they're gonna have, Jalen Johnson, Onyeka Okongwu, AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin is a really, really, really good shooter. So I think he's gonna be able to, maybe we see some creation chops out of him next year. But I think Onyeka Okongwu is gonna be a really good defensive big. He already is, but I think next year he's gonna take, another step in the right direction there. And I also think that Jalen Johnson is definitely ready to step into the kind of, big man role that John Collins had and kind of, be more a better creator than Collins was, but also actually have that kind of synergy with Trey Young. And Trey Young, it goes unsaid. Look how great he is. Like he's probably the best point guard in the Eastern Conference. Can create for his entire team. Can really carry an offense. Dejounte Murray is also there. He can also add things in his own special kind of way. So I think they're going to be that seed, and I think they're going to be a pretty good team next season.
Yeah. I mean, the Hawks, they're kind of young still too, so we'll see how it goes
Mm-hmm.
with them. Number eight, this is where my bias might have taken over a bit. I got the Raptors at eight.
Mm-hmm.
They're like a lot of people don't really have much expectations for them, and it reminds me of 2 years ago when we got Scotty, and everyone was expecting the Raptors not to do much. So I think with no expectations this year, they'll be better. They got Dennis Schroeder, great, had a great FIBA World Cup tournament, MVP there. McDaniels, great pickup, and then Grady Dick, draft 13th pick.
Mm-hmm.
So
Good
that
pick.
was great. Yeah, he fell to us, got really lucky. And they lost Fred VanVleet, which sucked, and then Delano
Brutal.
Bang. If you consider that a big loss, I don't. But
Yeah, nah, hell no.
yeah, and we got the new coach, so I think they'll go away from the ISO ball. Hopefully, they play more as a team. The
Yeah, y'all new
defense should
coach
be
is
good.
really big on like ball movement, I believe. Darko.
Yeah, that's gonna be really huge for us. I think the defense should be better. So I have hopes this year for the Raptors.
Mm. I mean, you are a Raptors fan, so it's right. But at number 8, I'm gonna say this is my bias. I'm gonna say the Chicago Bulls. And I think that, we've picked up some really solid depth pieces this year. Javon Carter, we got Torrey Craig. And I just think that our defense was really, really good last year. If you were paying attention, you would, realize that the Bulls defense was pretty solid last year. We run a pretty good defensive scheme. And when you just have all the offensive talent that we have, and when you have a defender like Alex Caruso, a defender like Patrick Williams, and then you have guys like Zach Levine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic just knocking down shots, really putting pressure on a lot of defenses. I think we can be the 8 seed, but I wouldn't be shocked if we were like 9, 10, because you know how injuries fluctuate. But I just think we're a really talented team, and I could see us being an 8 seed next year.
Yeah, I mean, I have the same like thoughts for the Raptors. Like you said, 9, 10. I can see them there too. Like it's just our predictions. It's really hard to get everything right. At
Yeah,
number
no.
9, I have the Bulls. I think, like you said, they're solid defensively, and I didn't Caruso get hurt like late last season. That kind of sucked for you
Yeah, he always gets hurt. It's all right though.
guys. Yeah, he's a great defender. So yeah,
He's
that
elite.
was a big blow for you guys. I think, like you said, the two depth pickups, Javon Carter and Craig, will really help you guys out. And
Hmm.
they lost Pat Bev and Javante Green from their rotation. So I think
We'll be
those
all
two
right.
additions, yeah, I think the two additions cancel out the losses. So they'll be fine. Imagine if they had Lonzo though, they'd be so much better.
Yeah, man. If only Lonzo was healthy. Praying for him.
Yeah, I had him on my keeper fantasy, and I
Mhm.
kept him last year. He didn't play the whole year. That kind of sucked, but I have to
Yeah,
drop him
man.
this year after the reports. He's not going to be playing
Yeah.
this year.
Hopefully he can honestly play again one day. I'm praying for
Yeah,
that. Hope he can
I'm
play.
hoping no one picks him up and I just stash him in my IL and keep him for next year or the year after. So that'd be cool.
Like you crazy. My 9C, I'm gonna say the Orlando Magic. I'm really high on Orlando this year because they have so much great young talent. Paolo, averaged 20 points a game last year. Franz Wagner is a guy who I'm really, really big on moving forward. I can honestly see Franz being better than Paolo moving forward, but I wouldn't be shocked if Paolo was the leader. But they're both just really good, 6'10", both wonderful, wonderful creators, really good at getting downhill and getting to the rim. And Franz is the better shooter of the two. So I just think they have a lot of talent there, with those two young guys leading them. And then they just have so much guard talent around Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, who I think they are working about that they're going to trade him. But, Jalen Suggs pretty good defensively. Marco Fultz is a guy who I really got my eye on, really good at getting to the rim, really solid, mid-range shooter. And then they just got, some good big man talent, Wendell Carter Jr. So I just think that, they weren't even a horrible team last year. Like, they won a lot of games, a lot more games than I thought they would have won. They, swept the Boston Celtics last year in the regular season. So I think they have a lot of great young talent, and just when they can figure out how to mesh it together and just have all their players, mature and develop the right way. So I can see them being a 10 seed next year.
Wow, that
I mean, I
gives
mean, I
me
mean a 9 seed. My bad.
yeah, that gives me a lot of confidence. What you just said, I had no idea they swept the Celtics. So yeah, that's huge for them. I mean, I'm really high on them too. I have them on my 10 seed, and yeah, they're a super young team. They're building great. And Franz Wagner, who you were just talking about, he was also part of that FIBA World Cup team that won Germany.
He was
So
huge.
yeah, I mean, I think they're really scary. that back to back against the Raptors last year really opened my eye,
Yeah, they're
and
crazy.
I think they had a really strong second half to finish off the year too. So I think they'll keep that going. They should be in the in my opinion, at
I
10
think
for
so.
me.
All right, and at 10 for me, I'm gonna say Toronto. And Toronto, they did lose Fred VanVleet. Obviously, that's a big blow, but they still have, Pascal Siakam there. And we've seen Pascal, carry various lineups for the Raptors. And the reason I say 10 seed is because this is me really banking on some internal development from Scotty Barnes. If he can, be more of a, and I don't subscribe to the fact that people are thinking like, oh, he's gonna be like a Magic Johnson point guard of the future type dude. I don't think he's ready to be a point guard, but I do think that he's ready to, maybe get a little bit more touches. And OG is definitely ready to get more touches. So I'm really fascinated to see what OG on Anunoby is going to do with more creation touches next year because Fred VanVleet is gone. So I just think they're going to be the 10 seed because they still have a lot of really strong defenders. Jakob is a really strong defender. Pascal, OG, really strong defenders there. If Precious Achua can, give them a little something more and be more of a rotation player next year, so I'm really excited to see, what the Raptors bring next season, but 10 seed feels right for them.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. I saw OG was working out with Stephen Curry. That kind of excited me. And when you were talking about Scotty, it just reminded me like when we first got Dennis Schroeder, I was kind of like not too happy because I wanted to see Scotty at the point guard position, but
Mm.
I mean after
I
his
don't know
feat,
if he's ready for that, man. I don't think he is. I
the
think he can
thing
be
with
like a four type.
yeah, I mean like we don't really have expectations this year, so I think we should just try it out this year to see what we got. If it doesn't work, we can go a different direction like next year. But yeah, that now that Dennis Schroeder had that great FIBA tournament, I mean, I can't be mad anymore. So we'll see how it goes with the Raptors, and I can definitely see them at the 10 seed. So I see what
Mm-hmm.
you're going for.
Yeah.
My 11 seed, I felt kind of bad having them here because I think they have play-in potential. The Indiana Pacers,
Okay.
Bruce Brown, great pickup. He just won the championship with the Nuggets. Obi Toppin, they got from the Knicks, and they lost O'Shea Brissett, Chris Duarte, who had a great first game in his career, but since then hasn't really done much. So yeah, I mean, like the Pacers, they're pretty solid. But I'm seeing they might be getting rid of Buddy Hield. So
Yeah, they're gonna try and train him before training camp begins, I
yeah,
think.
like he's
Yeah.
great, and it would suck for them, but they do have a lot of wings. So I see why they kind of want to get rid of him.
Mm. And my 11th seed, I'm gonna say the Brooklyn Nets. And I think Brooklyn, they're going to be a team that has a really strong defense. I can see them being like a top 15, top 10-ish defense. With Nick Claxton anchoring that defense, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson. And I really think that I'm not saying that Ben Simmons is going to return to All-Star form, but I think with him having, a healthy offseason and him really working out a lot, and, he always works out a lot, but I think that, in an environment where there's really no pressure on him and he's had the time to, kind of rehab properly, I think that he's going to come back and have a bounce back season and once again be a useful kind of player. But I got Brooklyn this low because I don't think the offense is going to be really good. They don't really have a true first option type. Mikal Bridges was great last year. He was, averaged like 20, like 25 or 26 or something like that with his time with Brooklyn. But I just think that the offense is going to really struggle. And the defense is going to keep them in a lot of the games, but you have to score points to win in this league. So I think that's going to have them drop down to the 11th seed.
Yeah, exactly. They're my 12th seed, and you hit it right on the head. Like I'm not too sure who's going to be their first option. That's like my main concern for them.
Probably
But
Mikal, I would think.
yeah, it looks like it's going to be him. But they do have like solid depth, so they could be
Yeah.
another team who's like a little better than 12, could be higher. And they had a solid offseason, honestly. Darius Bazey, Dennis Smith
Mm.
Jr., They got
Desmond
Lonnie
Jr. was a good
Walker.
defender last year too.
Yeah, they got Lonnie Walker and Trendon Watford. So that's more depth for them, but they did lose a lot of shooters. Seth Curry, Joe
Mm,
Harris,
mm,
Patty Mills, and Utah Watanabe.
mm,
So
mm.
hopefully their shooting doesn't take a hit, but it probably
Yeah,
will.
my 12 seed, I'm gonna say Indiana, and I say Indiana at 12 because, I just don't think they have a lot of up, top tier upper echelon talent. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton is one of the best playmakers in the NBA. But outside of that, they do have some great talent. I like some of their young talent, especially Andrew Nemhard. Shout out to T, my guy T on Twitter. But Nemhard, really strong, guard, really good, creator. We saw him have some great moments last year. And you got guys like Miles Turner returning. Benedict Mathurin is going to be, take that next step. I imagine, especially with minutes freed up and touches freed up after the Buddy Hield trade. So I just think that they're going to be the 12 seed, but I think they're going to still be a really fun team.
Yeah, I think they extended Miles Turner too, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, they did extend him.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
and yeah, like he's been wanting out, or they've been wanting to trade him, something like that. So I guess it's
Yeah.
good for them
They've
to.
been trying to trade him for a million a year,
Yeah,
I swear, and they never.
yeah. All right, 13th seed, Charlotte Hornets. Brandon Miller, big ad for them. Miles Bridges coming back after the suspension should be huge for
Mhm.
them. And I forgot to talk about this with the Sixers. They recently got Kelly Oubre, who the Hornets
Oh
lost,
yeah, yeah, that was a good
and
sign. I really
that
like that.
was a good signing for them. And Dennis Smith Jr., who we just talked about. So yeah, I mean they're really young, and I mean somebody's got to be down here. So I got the Hornets. I don't think they're like terrible, but
Mhm.
like the
You can
teams
be
above them.
honest; they're not gonna be that good. You can be honest.
Yeah, I mean the teams above them, they're much better. So I think it's fair to put them at 13.
Mm. At 13, I'm gonna have Detroit, and I think Detroit's probably better than the remaining two teams, Charlotte and Washington. But I really like Detroit. I like Kate Cunningham. I really think he's gonna be really good next season, barring he stays healthy. I really like their draft pick. They drafted Asar Thompson. He's a really high flying, solid defender. So I really like the high flyers that they got next to Cade. They got Jaden Ivey as well, and then they just got some nice big man prospects. They got Jalen Duren over there, Isaiah Stewart. If Jalen Duren can kind of build upon the little creation flashes that he showed in summer league, I think that's gonna be really huge. But I really like their core that they have there, and I like how they signed Monty Williams, who's a really really good head coach. So I think with him in charge of all these young guys, that they can probably make some noise in the Eastern Conference. But to be safe, I'm gonna say 13.
Yeah, I have the Pistons at 14. Monty Williams was a great signing for them, and that
Mm-hmm.
contract stipulation, whatever you want to call it, for his wife was a huge W. So I love
Yeah,
that.
classy.
Uh, yeah, it was. And Dwayne Casey's going to be the general manager. It's going to be pretty exciting to see what kind of moves he'll go for. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the problem I have with the Pistons, like their front court is loaded, like you said, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, and they got James Wiseman last year at the
Oh yeah, I forget about
trade
Wiseman.
deadline.
I like
Yeah,
Wiseman.
yeah, me too. He was playing good for them, so it'll be interesting to see how they like keep those three in the rotation. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
At my 14, I have Charlotte. I don't think Charlotte's going to be that great next year, obviously. But I like LaMelo, and I like, you know, some of the young talent that they have. Guys like Brandon Miller. I think he's going to be pretty solid. I think, Kai Jones. Kai Jones has been tweaking lately. I don't know what he's been doing. But on the court, he's really athletic. So I really like what he brings. And, they're obviously going to get Miles Bridges back. So that's going to be good for them. Maybe not good for the league, but that's besides the point. I think
Yeah.
that they're gonna be. I don't think they're gonna be a great team. I think they're probably gonna be on the lower end because Lamelo Ball does get hurt a lot. I don't think they have a super strong offense once again, but I think they're gonna be a pretty fun team. I think they're gonna be pretty fun, high flying. I think they're gonna be able to compete a lot with a lot of teams, but realistically, they're probably gonna be one of the lower seeds.
That's a good point with Lamelo. He is very injury prone. and now I'm kind
Sadly.
of worried I have them at 13, but we'll just ride it out. And last but not least, the Washington Wizards.
Mhm.
Um, their offseason honestly wasn't too bad. They finally blew it up. They got Tyus
Yeah,
Jones. I'm a fan of good playmaker.
yeah,
Um,
really good.
Jordan Poole, I think he's gonna have a huge year in fantasy. So if you play fantasy, try to pick him up, but don't reach for him. And then Landry Shamet, solid shooter. So yeah, I
Mhm.
like those signings. They lost Beal and Porzingis, obviously. They lost Monte Morris, their starting point guard, and then Brandon Goodwin. He was solid backup for them. So they did lose some big guys. And yeah, I think they should be the 15th seed.
Mhm. I agree, man. I got Washington at 15. I think with a team that's just freshly blowing it up, they're probably not going to be that great. But I think Jordan Poole is, like you said, I think he's going to have a really strong season. He's finally going to be able to be the number one option on the team. And I feel like in Golden State, obviously, you're not going to be number one option there. But when he did have a chance to play without Steph, he always, well, most of the time, he played really well. And he's just a really great creator, really great, handle. I just really like his game a lot. But Washington, like I said, they just blew it up. They got rid of Kristaps Porzingis. They got rid of Bradley Beal. So props to them for blowing it up finally. But they're probably gonna be one of the worst teams in the league, most likely.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say after
Yeah,
after losing two big names like Beal and Porzingis. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean that's our first episode previewing the Eastern Conference. We'll be back maybe like next week. We'll be back and we'll have the Western Conference for you guys for episode two.
yes, sir,
Makai, thank you so much.
yes, sir.
It was fun talking predictions, and we pretty much agreed on like a lot of these. So
We're not too
uh,
different lists. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I think it's kind of assuring to see my predictions aren't too far off. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.